Hey, welcome to Instant E-Training. With us today, we've got someone from a major news site. We got Eleanor Hong from ABC News. Eleanor, welcome.
Hi.
Good to have you. I know you speak a lot and you speak at different conferences, but I believe your expertise is SEO in-house. And you are at a very important website, which is abcnews.com. So how does a site like abcnews.com really leverage SEO?
So, first of all, for a lot of the media organizations and news sites, SEO and search and social media are so important now in terms of digital journalism. That's why a lot of us here, we were just on a panel speaking about news and search. Mm-hmm. And some of the elements that we talked about was the importance of keywords, site maps, just really training and evangelizing search engine optimization among the writers and producers, mm-hmm. as well as making the most out of daily trends, and also social media as well, and how that's kind of really changing the landscape. Mm-hmm. And in terms of SEO for the newsroom, I think it's important as an in-house SEO to be that trainer and just to explain to the editorial staff the importance of keywords and how that affects their stories and help rank them through like Google or Yahoo or across the search engines. Because now we're seeing more and more in terms of people finding news articles through portals or through search, more so than just the landing page or just the home page of that news site.
That's right. I mean, one of the points you bring up, and I think it's very important because for us who's on the outside, a news story breaks out, right? Mm-hmm. How do you insert your keywords? Because I would assume, like, let's say there's a fire in California, how would you put a relevant keyword right away and get the story out? What's your process like?
Great. So I was on the panel and I just spoke about making the most out of daily trends. And in terms of SEO, it's important to look at what's trending now. For across news, if there's a developing story or breaking news, likely you're going to see some uptick in what readers are looking for online to get to that news, right? So Poynter had a really interesting report last year saying that now more readers are getting their news outside of traditional mediums, and definitely they're looking online. So likely they're going to look through the portals like Yahoo News, Google News, or Google, or Yahoo, or Bing, to get to the story. Or if they hear something on TV, maybe it's a breaking news moment on TV across the different broadcasts, then they're likely, if they're in the office, to look it up online. In terms of making sure you have the right keywords, again, it's as the in-house SEO, and if you have a team, just keeping their pulse on what's trending. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we have a great staff, and even our writers have just picked up on the evangelism, and they will actually go within their industry and verticals to look at what's trending there, right? So what's trending in technology or what's trending in travel. For breaking news, it shows up, I would say we lean on like Yahoo News or Google News to see, okay, what's pulsating, what's really bubbling. And likely for a lot of news agencies, they have their own editorial staff, their breaking news, their domestic news distribution lists. So it's likely that they're on it. They heard from an affiliate, or they have a reporter that's assigned to it. And I think what's really great in terms of search and social media is to kind of really support them and provide them what's trending on the web. So, for instance, like the California race car crash, location is key, and that's important across search because everyone's looking at geolocations, how many people died, the development of that story. And, we're able, as the in-house SEOs, to really look at the different articles and looking at the different sources, obviously, because in journalism you want to check your source, but to provide, Mojave Desert is a trending keyword, California, the race car crash, 8 people killed. I mean, we just have to, we can provide that to the writer, and hopefully the writer is versed enough in digital web to really, look that up themselves as well. So that's how those keywords and you have a certain amount of time where these keywords rise and fall to really help develop that story.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions is, you say that you check the daily trends and your writers check the daily trends. If you don't mind me asking, and I don't know if you can reveal it, but are there any specific trending tools that you use to check that or keep a pulse?
Well, honestly, I mean, we look at a lot of the sources that are public and available to any other site.
Okay.
So again, looking at Google Trends,
Yep.
like the hot searches and hot topics, looking at Yahoo Trends, the trending topics, there's some lag time because it's Pacific Coast based, but then we also look at the social media trending sites, like what's the trend or it's trending on Facebook, to see what's being shared and what's, getting an uptick. Even other portals, like even YouTube, have trending topics as well. So again, it's just, again, keeping your finger on the pulse of trends. I know it sounds hard in terms of forecasting, but it's just an awareness. And for each of the media sites, their in-house SEOs or SEMs can look at the metrics. So if you're using Omniture or Google Analytics, you can see the daily keywords that drive traffic to your site. And likely for a news site, some of those are the news of the moment type of keywords, especially if there's like a developing story or breaking news about a famous newsmaker or celebrity, we see that often.
I mean, one of the points you bring up, and it's so critical, is being an in-house SEO for such a large news site, you can't be writing the meta tags or title tags or things like that, right? So you need to pass on a lot of that workload to the actual folks on the ground, which is your writers, I believe. So did you do a lot of training and evangelizing and to get them to place, because SEO don't come naturally? Did you do a lot of training?
Oh yeah, I mean, you really have to get the support of the managing editor and the editorial staff. I mean, I come from an editorial background, so that helped, in terms of relevancy. But I know a lot of SEOs come from a more developer or marketing background, so they might see like an extra resistance to their techniques, or to apply the techniques to the story. Content is the most important for these media sites, right? Content is king. But in terms of training, it can be not only across the newsroom, but maybe it starts with one story example. And I would say, like, I kind of also use like the Geico commercial, like 15 minutes, right? So 15 minutes of optimizing your story could mean 15,000 more page views, but you really have to show that to the writer, what the best keywords are to drive traffic to that story without significantly altering their story or a headline, I mean, really look at the content of the story and what's important, and is that apparent in the title, in the metadata, in what's out there, because really for a lot of the writers, as an SEO, we have to explain, how are people going to find your story? It's all about like findability, and not everyone, especially through search, they're not going to find it necessarily on the homepage of the site. They're going to find it through keyword search. So I don't know if that answered your question.